Yeah, so hi, you are welcome to YouTube today. Just give me a minute as I set up some one or two things, but we are live actually.
Good, please.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for waiting. Yeah, so finally we are here. Great. Okay. Great. So thank you for accepting to join our YouTube live. In fact, it has been a tough time getting you, but I believe it's worth it. Yeah. So I mean, as usual, I want to give you the chance to first of all introduce yourself, tell us who you are, and then we begin from there. Great.
I'm Mirabel Etona Mafeke. I'm an auditor with PricewaterhouseCoopers. I grew
Come
up.
again. That place is not clear.
Okay, an auditor with PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC Ghana.
Hey, that's a big position, right? Yeah, cool.
And so I'm currently serving as the assistant manager of PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Okay.
I was born in Dansoman. I grew up there. I've spent all my life in Dansoman.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so, well, the main reason for bringing you on board is basically to share your learning experiences, how your education journey went, because our focus is to help other students who are also in school. I mean, basically, some might also be struggling with how to learn, how to navigate the education system. And somebody was asking me when I posted your flyer that why am I always bringing people from Legon? And I was telling the person that sometimes it's difficult getting people. Yeah, so I mean, viewers, if you have recommendation, not only people who well might have only excel, but people who also it's all about building some level of tenacity to go through the process. Somebody might complete with a third class, but will be able to become a lecturer one day. It's all about how the person was able to manage through and also to share with our viewers. Yeah, so we want to understand from you how you began your education. I mean, basically, where did you begin? I mean, your basic school, then we enter your high school before we come and talk about how you came into Legon. Yeah.
Okay. So, like I mentioned earlier, I grew up in Dansoman. So I had my basic school and then my basic school education at Calvary Wisdom Academy is a grade school in Dansoman. So then getting to GHS3, I always wanted to read science. I wanted to become a medical doctor because at the time the perception was that every smart student should read science and then become a medical doctor. So most of my lecturers, my teachers wanted me to read science. And then my parents, just like every other African home, they wanted their daughter to be a medical doctor. I'd say fortunately, unfortunately, I developed an eye condition when I got to JHS3, when it was almost time for BC. So then instead of reading science, I sought counsel from people. And then because of the eye condition, it was going to make it very difficult for me to study like for longer hours.
Okay.
Yeah, sort of that. So then I decided to settle. I wouldn't say settle. I decided to go with my next best alternative, which was business.
Okay.
So a year 2014, I was admitted to Ghana National College, where
Oh,
I
Ghana
read,
National College. Great.
yeah, Ghana National College, where I read business administration. Hey, where I read business, yes, business at the course, yes.
Yeah.
So throughout my journey in Ghana National College, I believe Ghana National College opened another section of excellence, academic excellence for me, because I excelled greatly
Okay.
throughout my journey in Ghana National College. I was consistently the best all 3 years in Ghana National College.
Ooh.
And I believe it was definitely by God's grace and also because I applied certain key academic principles, which I
Okay.
believe I'll share as we proceed here.
Great. So, I mean, getting to know that you were the best in high school also. So, will you say that by nature or by gift, you are academically excellent? I mean, kind of a gift.
No, I wouldn't say so. I would just say that I have like this personal drive, this personal
Okay.
passion for excellence. So it drives me to put in so much work and an effort to excel academically. Yes,
Okay.
I believe that some people say some people are born naturally smart,
Yeah.
but I don't think I'm one of those people. Yeah.
Okay. So in high school, too, how were you learning? How were you excelling through? I mean, how were you studying in high school?
Okay, so like I mentioned, because of the eye condition I had at that time,
Yeah.
now it's no more there. I had to go visit the hospital so many times in school. So I was sometimes absent from school. But then I attribute my academic success then to the relationships or the friendships, the associations I found myself in because I found myself amongst very great people, and I always say that I'm a student to most great teachers. That those are my friends. Yes. So then I'm absent from school, but then I come back. They teach me whatever I missed, and then I work more on that. And at the end of the day, I find myself even doing better than those who taught me. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy you mentioned the point that about friends, the kind of people you keep around you, and I believe that is one thing our viewers to have to pick, knowing that people who you keep around you can really define you. Yeah, because we know how people go to school and then they make bad friends and they can easily influence them to who they'll become tomorrow. And that is good to know that you had good friends to guide you. Yeah, so how did you enter University of Ghana? I mean, was that your dream? Was that what you planned to do?
Yeah, I think from the very first day I joined Ghana National College, that's my senior high school, I've always wanted to be in the University of Ghana and to read business administration. So when I got to senior high SHS3, I applied for the University of Ghana, the business school specifically. I made excellent grades, so I made it through and found myself in the University of Ghana, where I studied business administration.
Okay, so, well, for you it was a dream. It was not, I mean, people will say that Legon or nothing. Say that I come to University of Ghana. Was that your case?
Oh, it wasn't like that was going to be the end. If I didn't make it to University of Ghana, I would have probably gone to another school. But it was just my dream to join University of Ghana.
Okay. Okay, great. So you came to University of Ghana. You were admitted into business school, UGBS. I mean, one of the great schools in in the University of Ghana. How was it like? I mean, knowing that you are now in University of Ghana, your dream school where you wanted to come, you've just entered. How was the feeling then?
Oh, I mean, it felt great. It felt fulfilling because I was somewhere I've always wanted to be. And then knowing that everyone there came from very good schools, made excellent grades.
Yeah,
So I just knew I had to be on top of my game to thrive in the University of Ghana, especially the business school. And so
yeah,
right from the onset, I had that in mind. Yeah.
great. So, did you make friends from the beginning?
Yeah, I'm very sociable. I would say I'm a people person, so I don't struggle to make friends. And I would say I'm like how go to. So right from the beginning, I'd say I just studied a few people, then I made friends. Then with time, I made more friends. Yes, I just say that way.
Yeah, I mean, somebody was asking me, I should ask you whether you had a social life, but I mean that will come up on the way when we talk about that, because the person was like, how will she get 3.95? Like, because for me, I knew at the point you had 4.0,
Mm.
and I mean I was like 4.0. That's serious. I mean that is good to know. Yeah. So which hall were you in the University of Ghana? Which hall in particular were you?
I was in the men's Asaba hall as part of the Oko meeting.
So you were the ones fighting to compete with the Vandals.
Actually.
Or you were not part of
So
that
I
group?
wasn't part, but I was solidly behind my hall. So
Yeah, great, nice. So, I mean, Vikings, right?
yeah, like
Great, great. I mean, some of us we were, yeah, I mean, in traditional halls, I always mention in most of my videos that traditional halls give a different feeling from being in most of the diaspora halls, kind of the bees halls and all those things. Yeah, for me, I like I was in the Kwafo hall, I like my Kwafo hall like that. And I was on the Gonja block. So, you know, we were Kwafo and Gonja and then Saba, and this was that almost closed. So when the fight is going on, we will stay on our block and be watching, kind of. So let's talk about this. How was the beginning of studies for you in the University of Ghana? You came from high school, now you are in the university. Did you start by learning the same way you were learning before you came to the University of Ghana? Or there was a different approach from the beginning? And were there people who advised you on how to go about learning in level 100? Because for somebody to be in 4.0 from the beginning, it means that there was some kind of attitude towards learning. So how was it for you from the beginning? How was the approach?
okay. So I believe that right from the onset, right, joining University of Ghana, I had a couple of friends or mentors, I would say, that told me about the whole GPA, grade points average. I just knew that it was a numerical representation of your academic performance, but
Okay.
I didn't really have the details. But then, like I mentioned earlier, I'm an individual who has this passion for excellence. So no matter where I find myself, I always have it at the back of my mind to excel greatly. And then this gives me the drive to put in more hard work and then effort. So then right from the onset, I knew I had come to a new environment. And I wouldn't say I changed my principles or my approach because whatever principles I had worked for me in senior high school. So then I just developed more on whatever principles I upheld in senior high school.
Okay. Great. I mean, I'm happy to hear that. Yeah. So eventually, they gave you your first assignment. You were given your first assignment, and were you computer literate before you came?
I'll say the basic, but I wasn't so good at it. It took some time for me to get better.
So how was the typing? Because I mean, in the university, you have to use a computer to do your assignment, how research, find information. How was it like for you in terms of computer?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it was a little challenging, but with constant practice, I got better at it as the days went by. So then I'll just attribute everything to how I was constantly working towards the use of the computer. Yes,
Okay.
I'm looking at it.
Okay. Yeah. So are you a library person? Are you a library person? Because I know even your hall they have a lot of reading rooms. Almost every block is having a reading room. Are you a library person? Kind of BAM library, business school library? Are you a library person?
I would say I mostly like to be close to my room, so then I prefer the reading rooms to the libraries. Yes, so I can go back and relax whenever I'm tired. So then I prefer the reading rooms to the libraries in University of Ghana.
Okay. So kind of library. What kind of libraries on campus are you noted for? People are. I mean, 24 hours. People. You can't mention their names without adding 24 hours because some of them sleep there and wake up from there and go to class. Yeah.
Okay, so you will mostly find me in the Sabah Annex B reading room. Then
Okay.
occasionally when I find myself on campus, I visit the Baum Library. I think I went to the 24-hour reading room once. Yeah. I think that was
Okay.
like the 300. Yeah.
But did it work for you?
And the 24-hour reading room, honestly, no. Because I have to stay awake all night. And usually when I'm studying, I would want to have breaks. So then I
Okay.
prepare my own reading room so that even if I get tired, if I should get tired, I can still go back to my room and then relax for a while and come back. But with the 24-hour reading room, I had to stay awake for longer hours. I think that was in my thing, so I
Okay.
struggled here.
Okay. So back to our main question. How do you learn?
Okay.
Is it a difficult question?
I'll say yes and then no. How do I learn? Okay, so right from senior high school, I noticed that I was more of an evening person than a morning person. And then
Okay.
actually in the University of Ghana, we have the luxury of choosing the classes we would want to attend, like what time we would want to attend certain classes. So
Yeah.
then I mostly schedule most of my classes for the earlier parts of the day since I'm an evening person and I would want to have my evenings to myself. Yeah, so I remember a few instances where I would see people learning in the morning and then I would want to also learn in the morning. And I was really struggling with this. So I just learned that I would have to find out what works for me and then work with it rather than trying to be like everyone else. So
Yeah.
I go for lectures and then in the lecture room, the teacher teaches, I ensure I pay very attention in the lecture room. I make my notes. And then sometimes these lecturers use very complex things that I find it difficult to appreciate. So then I just note that down. And I was also a part of a number of study groups.
Okay. So you study group as well. Okay.
Exactly. So then when I go to class and I probably when I listen to the lecturer and there are certain things I do not understand, I just note those things down after class, after relaxing, I go for study group meetings. And then in that study group meetings, I just highlight what I was confused about.
Okay.
Then those study group meetings were mostly during the day. So then in the evening, when I have time, my personal study time, I revise what the lecturer said and then whatever I got from my friends as well. Yes. So then I ensure that whatever was taught, I try and then learn that very day or make notes
Yeah.
out of it that very day so that it doesn't compile or I don't get confused about certain things.
Okay. So you are the person that will definitely read your notes immediately after class, so that the note doesn't compile on you, right?
Yes, please.
Great. That's fine. And then I understand. I mean, people are just sending comment about how it is difficult to answer the question, how do you learn? But I really want to understand from your perspective. So, right from class, the lecturer is done teaching. Do you revise the note immediately? And then again, let me add to it. Do you prepare before the class? What about that? Do you prepare before you come to class? I mean, do you read the kind of topics in advance before you come to class? And after the class, what do you do immediately? Do you just leave them? You mentioned you don't want the note to pile down on you. So how do you handle it between these two things?
Okay, so you were asking if I learn before my classes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do learn, but I don't try to commit it to memory. So we have an outline, and then based
Okay.
on the topic that is going to be treated, I ensure that I have a general understanding or a broad understanding of whatever is going to be taught. So that gives me an idea. So I
Yeah.
can follow through with what the lecturer teaches or says. Otherwise, I would be lost. It will just be like going for a meeting and then you can't make any contributions because you don't even know what is being taught.
Yeah.
Then learning or having a broad overview or a general understanding of whatever is being taught gives me an upper hand because I can easily relate to whatever the lecturer is teaching and then ask very important or relevant questions.
Okay. So it means that you are someone who asks questions in class also, right?
Yeah, yeah, ask a lot of questions.
You say he has a lot of questions. Great. So, what about in the class? In the class during the interaction session with the lecturer, are you that student who, no? Basically, I speak about the various learning styles, the read-write learners, the kinesthetic learners, the visual learners, and then the auditory learners. And most of these students want to know where they sit in class. Some will want to be at the front in the class. Some will not want any interaction from their colleagues in class. So within the lecture hours, who are you in terms of learning? And where do you think you position yourself in the class to Maybe if you are the one who sit at the front, why do you want to sit at the front? If maybe you are the one who always want to make note in class, why do you do that? I mean, I believe this also help our listeners as well.
Okay, so for my class, I think those who sit at the back were like noted for making so much noise.
Okay.
And because I would want to like have 100% concentration, I mostly sit at the front, yes, so that I can have a better view and then hear everything directly. So I would consider myself someone who listens and then writes. So when I once I listen, I make notes, and then based on that, I can always refer to the notes and revise. Yes, so I would position myself as that kind of a person.
Yeah, so I mean, even if the lecturer say that, oh, stop writing your note, I'm going to give you the slides, you still want to make your note
Yeah,
down.
also because I think based on how he explains something, it would probably be different from what is stated in the slide. So then I would want to write based on my understanding of what he has said.
In
Yes,
class.
yes, exactly.
Great, great. So yeah, earlier you mentioned that you have group studies and all those ones. How do you transition from after class to your group studies? For example, if you have group discussion, do you read your notes before you go for the group discussion? Or you go to the group discussion to listen to your colleagues talk and you also make your notes? How do you handle that one too?
So I mentioned earlier that when I go for lectures, sometimes the lectures use like very complex terms, or they teach certain things that I do not really appreciate. So then right in the class, I write down whatever the lecturer has said, and I probably put question marks close to it. That like probably informs me that I do not really get this. So for every group studies, we have like an itinerary for the day. So once we are done with whatever we are supposed to treat, then I ask like relevant questions on what I probably didn't understand in class. Yes. And I was blessed to be surrounded by equally smart people or smarter people. So then they were almost always able to help.
Yeah, because I mean, throughout you always mention you are surrounded by great and very good people. I mean, so as a student, if I go to school today, how do I get people like that to also be in their group?
Okay, so I'd say you study people, you look at how they interact in class. So for me, when I sit by you and probably you have a particular slide, or you have an like you have something I do not have, or something I really want to have, or you say something in class that really catches my attention, I walk up to you, can I have your contacts? Can you send me this? Then with time, I'll be sending you my questions, and then based on that, I'm able to build establish a
Kind of
relationship with
rapport.
that person. Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
So I make
Yeah,
a
but
conscious effort to reach out to them. Yes.
do you also get people who always approach you that, oh, I want to be in your group discussion, I want to have a discussion with you?
Oh yeah, a lot of people. But sometimes you want to study them and then find out if they are like-minded people, like this is because some people just want to join for the fun of it. That's, oh, I'm in the same group studies with this girl. But then are these people like-minded people? Are they working towards a common goal as you are? And I think you can discover all of this by like interacting with the people. You get to know their visions or what they are working at, or why they are even in school in the first place. Yes.
Okay, so for you, you were not that type of student who comes to class, sit in the corner, make the note, the close. You walk quietly, you don't talk to anybody. You go to your room because all you want is to pass. So you go to your room and go and sleep. You wake up to the lectures. No, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I was
Great,
constantly interacting with people. Yes.
great. What do you think was your motivation?
And I've always not wanted to be average. I feel like if people have achieved something, then I can equally achieve that. Because even in the football field where we have Ronaldo and Messi, people claim Messi is naturally talented. But I believe that through hard work and an effort, or Ronaldo has equally been able to achieve as much as Messi has been able to achieve. So then I just feel like no matter what somebody is doing or how they are doing it, I can equally achieve that. So that was constantly driving me and then helping me fight my fears and then doubts. Yes.
Great. I mean, I was telling somebody that I believe in life there are different stages. People will be on the kind of on the ground. People will be in the middle. People will be at the top. Everybody can be at the ground. It is a decision and a choice to strive hard to be in the middle or at the top. But for the ground, everybody, and there will always be somebody at the top. So if there's an opportunity to go to the top, why not? Let's just strive hard to get there. And do you think that there was a role of anybody in your life, more or less like a role model that you were looking up to?
I'll say mentors. Mentors. I'll say
Okay.
my mentors, because I believe that they had achieved so much. I would have loved to be like them one day. So then these people were constantly guiding me and then directing my path as well.
So you believe that the role of mentors are very important in your
Yeah.
career?
Yeah, they are very important because these are people who have navigated paths that you want to navigate through. So then they are like the best people to guide you on how to go about certain things or decisions to make. Yes, rather than trying to figure it all by yourself, you just want to be with someone who, or you just want to be guided by someone who has navigated through a similar route. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how was it with your mentors? How often do you talk to them?
I'd say I speak to them basically every time. They are like my friends. I've developed that
Okay.
relationship with them. So then even the silliest thing or the silliest question I have, I can always ask them. So I think there was this constant interaction with them. Yeah. And I believe
So
they helped me so much.
great. So do you involve them also in your course selections?
Oh yeah, I think so for University of Ghana Business, when you get to level 300, you have the option of majoring in a number of areas. So for before I chose the accounting option, I spoke to them. I asked them of the probable or the likely career options. Someone who studied accounting, what were the challenges I was going to encounter. So I was well informed before I made that informed decision.
Yeah, that's great to know. Yeah. And also to help our followers and viewers, how do you conclude on choosing somebody to be your role model or your mentor?
So okay, so sometimes even in the University of Ghana Business School, you speak to lecturers and the lecturers can recommend certain people to you
Okay.
based on the path you are taking. Or if you belong to a church or maybe an organization or some in like you belong somewhere on campus where you find people who are probably navigating through paths you would want to navigate through, and they are like-minded people like you. They are people who you would want to become, like they have qualities and attributes you admire. I
Yeah.
think those should be like good pointers for you to choose someone as your mentor.
Okay. So again, still because we want to guide people, how do you? So did you just approach? So in your case, did you approach people that I think I want you to be my mentor, or it was just a casual conversation with them that built that kind of relationship that okay, this is my mentor.
Okay, so I'll say it was a casual relationship because I found myself in the same church with them. So, based on interactions with them, they became friends, and then I realized that these are people that could actually mentor me. But I don't see anything wrong with approaching someone and then telling them that, oh, I admire this and this about you. I would want to be like you. I'd be very
Yeah.
glad if you would mentor me.
Okay. So someone is asking that in your spare time, what books do you read?
I read Christian books.
Okay.
Yeah, most often I
Okay.
read Christian books. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any recommendation?
Any recommendation? I have a lot of recommendations.
Okay,
So,
so you can share some of them.
um,
I've put you on the spot,
I
right?
know, right?
Just feel free. I mean, if you want, we can go on, and then when they come to mind, you just chip it in.
Okay, sure, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so very important to our followers is also the issue about how to prepare for exams. How to prepare for exams. So basically, I mean, people have different ways they prepare for exams. Some prepare along the semester, Some also, as usual, students will keep their notes to the end of the semester, then they start preparing when the revision week. Someone told me that, you see, there's a whole reason why they reserve a week for revision week for exams. So why would I spend a whole semester reading my notes, preparing for exams? How has it been for you in terms of preparing for exams? How did you prepare for exams along the line in the university?
Okay, so before that, I would want to the Christian books, right? I think
Great.
there was Good Morning, it's Good Morning Holy Spirit. I would want
Yeah,
to greatly
great.
recommend because
Okay.
that has been a book that has influenced my life so much. Yes, and about how I prepare for exams, I think right from the onset, right from the beginning of the semester, I start to prepare so that I don't compile my notes. So then after every lecture, I try to learn something about what has been taught. So then you see me making notes from books, from like different sources, and then putting them into my personal notes so that during the final revision week, I would have probably asked a lot of people questions on the areas that I find challenging or things I didn't appreciate in class.
Okay.
Yeah, so then during the final revision week, I just revise whatever notes I have personally made for myself. Also, when I'm learning, I sometimes record whatever I learn. Like I say it to myself as though I'm speaking to someone and I record it so that during the final week, I just play it to myself and then um make meaning out of it. Yes.
Great. So someone is asking a question, and I think it relates to what you're talking about. The person wants to find out. It said, "Give. Can you give a brief of how your typical semester is, and how do you avoid being piled up?" I mean, you just spoke about that. So we can focus on the area of a brief of how your semester look like.
Okay, so my semester. So at the beginning of the semester, like I mentioned, I have the option to choose certain courses. And there are even some courses that are optional. You have the option of choosing, like, probably choosing between um a finance course and then another course, which is not like an elective. So based
Okay.
on that, I asked a lot of people who have gone ahead of me, asked them why I should go for this particular course. What are the challenges I'm likely to encounter if I go for one course compared to the other, as opposed to
Okay.
the other. And then based on that, I make my selections. I also um look at the outline for various courses. And then based on that, I look for books online that I believe would be very helpful for that particular course. I also seek recommendations from my seniors who have probably who are ahead of me. Yes. So then in a semester, I like based on like my daily activities. I believe whatever I do in every day counts. So then I have an itinerary for every day, right? From the morning, afternoon, and then the evening, and then I make the evenings like I personalize the evenings. I want to have my evenings to myself. So if I find myself at an event, I try to come very early because my evenings are my me time. Yes. So then I was also at everywhere I found myself, I was doing something in church. So I was part of the Global Evangelical Students and Associates Ministry. I was in level 200, I served as a cell leader. In level
Okay.
300, I served as a treasurer. And then in 400, I was a financial secretary. In my
Okay.
whole Mensa Sabah hall, I was the auditor for my whole in level 400. And in the business school, I was privileged to have joined a number of committees, and I was also the lecturer commissioner for the Accounting Students Association. So then you see that you realize that I do, everywhere I find myself, I ensure that I am doing something or I'm serving. And
Yeah.
this equipped me with so much skills and then experiences that are found valuable today. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, people are asking the question that you were just answering. And I would like you to maybe really put it into perspective for them. And they want to know how you were able to balance your academic life with spiritual life.
So one thing I learned at a very early stage was that God will not do for me by miracle what I can do for myself by hard work. So then I learn as though there's no God, and then I serve God as though there are probably like no books to study. So So then I
Okay.
think it's just about setting your priorities right, right? Because there's so much freedom in the university that sometimes you don't realize that some things are distractions until they are done distracting you. Then I'll just attribute everything to setting my priorities right. When I know it's time to study, which is the was the principal purpose for which I was brought to school, I study as though like no miracle can happen or there's no God. And when it came to serving in the house of God too, I did it wholeheartedly. So yes, you just have to get your priorities right. And
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, before we move to extracurricular activities, which you've already spoken about some of them, the issue about past questions, how was it for you? Were you someone who also used past questions to prepare for exams along the semester, or what was the role of past question in your studies?
so as far as I can remember, I remember that at the beginning of every semester, based on the courses I was supposed to take for a particular semester, I go out and then buy past questions. I think in the University of Ghana Business School, based on those particular courses, because I realized that some of the questions follow a particular trend. Studying the past questions are sometimes able to predict what questions are likely to be asked. Yes. So then, yeah, past questions were very instrumental in my academic journey. So I would strongly recommend past questions.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned you bypass questions. I remember when I was in level 100, we used to bypass questions a lot. Before even the University of Ghana BAM library,
Yes.
I mean, begin to load the questions online. So you can just go to the library. And I didn't even know that they were already in the library. But people took advantage of our lack of knowledge about it. They will photocopy it, bring it to class, and tell you that it's difficult. Buy the past questions. One that a lot of people were buying was academic writing. I
Huh?
mean, there was one man who would go to all the classes. He has all the timetables. He will go to all the classes and go and sell it to every student. And he will come before the lecture will start, so you would think it's a prerequisite to the class. Yeah, so if you're not careful, you end up buying some. Great. So let's come to extracurricular activities. You already mentioned some of the things. People are already asking, were you involved in other activities? People want to know. You mentioned you were part of GESAM. You were in charge of. You were the treasurer in your hall. You mentioned something like the editor or something.
Auditor, yeah, auditor.
Yeah, auditor, great. So can you elaborate on that so that people will not think that, okay, so you made your 3.95 just by studying without involving yourself in any social activities? Yeah.
Okay. So, like I mentioned in church, I was serving. I was the treasurer and then financial secretary and also the tour leader at different times. And I believe that even because of the positions I was privileged to serve in, I got to learn a lot of things that even were relevant to my course I was doing, because I think in level 300 as a treasurer, I had to prepare accounts, and this was something I hadn't yet been taught in the business school. So then when it got to that particular semester where it came to account preparation, I had an upper hand. So I
Okay.
believe that experience was very relevant and was very instrumental as well. In Mensa Sabaho as the auditor, I also I developed a lot of soft skills and then technical skills as well. That role, I'll say, equipped me with great analytical skills and then problem solving skills, because I had to audit the books of um, the Mensa Sabaho in general. Yeah, also amongst my friends, I'm mostly the organizer for a lot of events. So
I
then
know,
you see
right?
me spearheading like those things. So then I wouldn't say I was only doing books, books, books. I was constantly interacting with people, building relationships, and then I benefited so much from wherever I found myself serving or whatever role I played outside academics. Yes.
Okay, so from what you are saying, it looked like you more or less belong to groups that are related to your course of study. So, I
Exactly.
mean, will you advise people that, okay, if you go to the school, you are reading kind of, let's say, political science, try and associate yourself and join related groups and socials that you can more or less practice or learn to apply in your classroom and also kind of apply what you are learning in that particular social group?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would strongly recommend that. But even after graduating from the University of Ghana, where you may most likely, aside your internships, you wouldn't have any work experience. Sometimes having it on your CV that, oh, I did this role that is relevant to my course gives you an upper hand when it comes to searching for jobs or finding a place to even have your national service. Yes, I would strongly recommend that you join associations or groups that are relevant to your course of study.
Okay, yeah. So someone is asking, Livingston is asking, what's your counsel for ladies aspiring to attain an excellent feat just like you have achieved in terms of academia? I mean, what is your counsel for them?
Well, I'll just advise that they remain focused. They know while they are in the university, they should have like a vision because sometimes things get hard, you get distracted, but your vision is what keeps you going. They should
Okay.
also know that they are unique. The fact that I work for somebody doesn't mean it would work for you. There's no one fit for all approach for everything. You just have to find out what works for you and then adapt that strategy. Where that strategy doesn't work, you can always re-strategize. And also, they shouldn't be fooled by the illusion of freedom. I know most people say you only live once, and so just like have fun, have fun, have fun. You can you can continue to have fun. By the end of the day, it will be at your own detriment. So they know why you are there. Know that a lot of destinies are depending on you just to make the right decisions. Yes. So basically, just know why you are in school or why your parents brought you there. Yes.
Great. One very important thing our viewers want to know that along the line, the first 4 years stay in the university, what about relationships? Were you involved in relationships?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in our last interview, I mean, people were saying that they believe that the lady was giving people broken heart. And they kind of, some of these things that happen in the university. But great to know. Yeah. So, what I know in the business school, UGBS, a lot of students along the line of studies take a lot of professional courses. Were you also involved in it? Because I know that also places a lot of demand on you. You have to prepare to write some ICA or ACCA and all of those ones. Were you doing some of them along the line also?
So I got counsel from someone and I realized that once you are done with the University of Ghana, or even now, when you're in level 300, you have a number of exemptions, right?
Okay.
So if I'm going to be exempted from it. I'll just want to focus on like this University of Ghana courses and then complete school and then write the papers I I had to write. Yeah, so I completed University of Ghana and then a year later I enrolled in the professional certifications and then by God's grace, I'm done with that. So you can choose
Oh,
one of
great.
them in school, but you should know yourself if you'd be able to combine your University of Ghana academics to the professional examinations because it's really demanding. But yes, nothing beyond you. Once you set your mind to do it, you can do it. Yes.
Okay, great. That is also another very important thing. So it means that within you were all focusing on academics and also your social life along the line in the university.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then also I forgot to mention I also participated in some volunteering activities. Yes,
Okay.
I think that's also very helpful, especially when you come out of school. Some organizations would love that, or you should be someone who is willing to volunteer. So yeah, I volunteered as an organizer for a number of leadership seminars that were organized in the University of Ghana. Yeah, so I'd encourage the viewers who are in the university currently to look out for such opportunities and then volunteer.
Okay, very, very important. Yeah, so viewers, kindly send, if you have any question again, kindly share your questions. I'm going to give you the opportunity to respond to some specific things that I believe will help our our viewers. So on that one, I'm going to leave the screen for you. You will talk to people, and the number one has to do with the strategies that worked for you in learning. So basically, we all learn from people. We take advice from people, but sometimes it's difficult to tell people how you're able to make it. Describing, you can describe it, but the strategies you adopted can help people to also kind of learn from you and also apply. I believe that you heard from other people, you spoke to role models, and that is how come you're able to thrive through the study system in the university. So just share on some strategies that work for you. Basically, we talk about three things, but let's approach the first one about the strategy, some of the strategies that work for you in the university. So I'm going to leave you just to talk to our viewers.
Thank you. So before I speak on the strategies, I'd like to highlight a few principles that I adapted before getting to the strategies. So then making it to the University of Ghana, I'd want to talk about the principle of vision. That is knowing why you are at a particular place at a particular time. Why did I come to the University of Ghana in the first place? Because even if I believe that without having a vision, you can easily be distracted by so many things. There are way too many distractions on campus. So without having a vision, you easily be distracted. And then sincerely, some things do not even look like distractions until they are done distracting you. So I would encourage everyone to have a vision, and then based on the vision, you can establish short-term goals for yourself. So say a particular semester, you can establish a goal of how many A's you would want to make in a particular semester and which courses you would want to make those particular A's. So then you, based on your short-term goals as well, you're able to develop daily itineraries that you would want to follow. So aside the principle of vision, I want to speak about the principle of uniqueness. Just know that you are different from everyone, right? The fact that you see somebody doing one particular thing doesn't mean that you should do that. I mentioned that I used to structure my courses or my lectures in a way that I had to go for lectures at the early parts of the day. So you can go to school and then everybody's like, oh, let's choose this evening class. Let's choose this evening class. But then knowing yourself very well, you know that that strategy isn't going to work for you. But then just because you want to be part of the masses, you find yourself doing something that you know wouldn't work for you. So yeah, just know yourself, know what works best for you, know the environments that you're likely to be more productive in. So for me, I cannot learn in a very noisy environment. For some people, they can learn very well in a very noisy environment. So if you are someone that learns very well in a noisy environment, then when you see people going to the library, I see no reason why you should follow them when you know that it's not going to work for you. So yeah, just find out what works for you, adapt that strategy. If it doesn't work, you re-strategize and then adapt a different one. That is where you become self-aware and then get to know what works best for you. And also discipline and then balance, right? I believe that once you're disciplined, you can you can achieve academic excellence. Yes, sorry. Once you are disciplined, you can achieve academic excellence. So you don't want to find yourself doing every other thing. Just do what works best for you and then be disciplined as well. Ensure that you have a right balance of things. If you are someone who would want to mingle with people and then get to learn a thing or two from them, that's absolutely fine. Just ensure that you balance things rightly. Yes, so I'll share a blueprint of what works for me, and I believe it has worked for other people. So if you are someone who would want to adapt that, you can adapt it. If it works for you, fine. If it doesn't, you have to find out what works best for you and then go with that. So like I mentioned, my strategy is just going for lectures. In the lecture hall, I ensure that I pay attention. I pay rapt attention to whatever my lecturer is saying. I make notes based on what he's saying. I highlight areas that I do not specifically understand. At the end of the day, after I'm done with all my lectures, I go for group studies, right? And then you also want to ensure that you find yourself amongst the right people. I believe that I've spoken much on that because you do not really realize how your associations can really influence you. I know we hear a lot that our associations can make or make us, but some it has now become like just a saying to most people. But really, your association really determines your acceleration. So if you find yourself in a circle where you know that you are not doing so well, then you are probably in a cage. Just come out and then find yourself amongst like the right people. So I go for group studies, and like I mentioned, I'm just privileged to be a student to a lot of smart teachers who are my friends. So based on whatever I learned from class and then the complex things I found it difficult to appreciate. I just speak to a couple of friends after the group studies, after we've discussed the itinerary for the day, and then they explain to me whatever I found difficult explaining. And then it doesn't end there. In the evening, when it's time for my personal studies, I ensure that I go back and then revisit whatever I learned from my lectures, from my lectures, and then my friends as well. Use a number of textbooks and then use information, relevant information online, and then make notes based on whatever I feel would be relevant to me. So then it's just those notes, right? Or me trying to commit to memory whatever I have made, whatever notes I've made. And then while committing to memory, I record whatever I am saying to myself as though I am teaching someone. So then I file up this notes based on like daily routines and then this recording. So then when during the final week or the revision week, I do not have to go back and then be searching for textbooks, trying to read from every other source. I just have my notes that are summarized versions of whatever the lecturer said, things I learned from my friends, and then notes I've made from a lot of relevant sources. Then I just revise these and then replay the audios I have recorded to myself and make like and then commit them to memory. Yes. And I believe this is a strategy that has been worked so much for me. And then also I try to study much in the evening because that is when I'm very productive.
Okay.
So I think even in SHS, our prep systems are designed in a way that you have probably from 7 to 9 to learn. So in the University of Ghana, where there's so much freedom, where there's probably no prep time, if you realize that you're an evening person or say a morning person, end up doing something. See, most of our church activities are scheduled in the evening, like the weekly activities. So then if I realize that I have to be in church at a particular time, I make up for that time that would be lost either before church or after church. So then I don't stand any chance of losing anything. Yeah.
Okay, great. You've spoken a lot. I just have two recap questions. So someone is asking that you said we should try and know ourselves and know what works for us. How will she do that?
Okay, so me, I think I tried by using the try and error approach. So
Okay.
when I use a particular approach, I realized that, oh, this approach is not working for me, then this is not what I should be doing. I try a different approach. So then by trying multiple approaches, you become self-aware and then you get to know what works best for you and you stick to it. Yes.
Yeah, and also to add to that, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we bring people on board to share their learning experiences.
Yeah.
So you heard from her today. Yeah, you can try and learn in the evening and see whether it works for you. I mean, somebody is a dawn person. You can try at dawn also. Along the line, you just see perfectly the one that works for you. I mentioned about the 24-hour reading room. Someone told me that, you see, when I go there, I sleep the whole time. I can't learn. But someone also go there and can learn the whole time. So it's about what works for you. I don't use one particular reading room or library because I lose concentration easily. So I go to BAM Library, I spend 1 hour or 2 hours there. By the time you see me, I'm taking my bag, I'm walking to a different reading room and go and spend some 1 hour there. The moment I get to familiarizing myself with the environment, I'm moving out after an hour or two to a different place. So, in fact, I've explored a lot of reading rooms on campus. I've not been in Sabah Hall, but I know all the reading rooms on all the blocks because Sabah was, more close to me. I've been to reading rooms, even in the diaspora. I mean, you follow friends to their place and then you just go to the reading room and go and spend some 1 hour and read. So that is what works for me. And it might not work for you as well, but you try it. Then along the line, you get to know what works for you. And that is very important. Yes. So someone is also asking that you also mentioned about internships. Can you throw little light on internships? Internships as a student in university, how will you know where to do internships and maybe how to go about it?
Okay. So, based on your field of study, right? When by conducting a random research online, you are able to know companies. So I studied accounting, you're able to know accounting companies that are in Ghana. So I think most of the websites have a portal where an announcement is placed when um students are going on long vacations, right? So then they are given the opportunity to apply for internships. Also, sometimes even on the websites of organizations, you find the email of an HR personnel or someone you can send your CV to. Also, I think even in the University of Ghana Business School, they regularly organized events where you have people from different organizations coming by, and then um you just reach out to them that, oh, I would want to have an internship with organizations. Sometimes they even give free internship opportunity slots. Yes. So then you want to be on the lookout, visit websites of a number of organizations. You can even, I see people work to my company with their internship letters and then their CVs that, oh, I would want to come and intern here. And I don't think that's also a bad idea if the online approach is not working for you. You can just randomly walk to an organization and then.
Okay, yeah, I also know that there are some departments that it is compulsory. You need to do internship. It's part of the kind of curriculum. And in the every year, the second semester vacation, you have to pick an internship and go and study somewhere under some people, maybe some 1 month or some what kind of 12 no, not 12 weeks, 3 weeks or 1 month. It depends on the duration of the vacation. So kindly be on the lookout for that. And also I like the whole idea of you. So for example, I'm reading let's say social work. I have to find and know some companies, organizations, NGOs that are related to what I'm reading. Then you can tell them that, okay, I want to do internship with you. But the issue is that most of the time we end up going to do internships in organizations that don't relate to what we are doing in school. So at the end of the day, you're just going to be buying Gobe, going to buy watches for people throughout the whole internship time. So I like the whole idea of you being specific, find those that relate to what you are doing. Yes, there's another question for you. I don't want us to leave any of the questions. So, kind of you mentioned, talk about how to choose course mates. Someone is asking, can she advise us on how to choose course mate? I believe you mentioned it, but maybe the person was not online then. So if you can, how to course mates, how to choose course mates.
The question is not clear.
Kind of, so you mentioned you have steady partners, steady
Okay, okay.
mates.
So that's what.
Yes, yes.
So I'd say that, like like I mentioned earlier, just like steady people, look out for qualities you would want to have um with in people you study with.
Okay.
And also I think in the university, based on how some people like act very like they ask very intelligent questions in class. They make very meaningful contributions. So mostly I just approach those people. I take their contacts. I don't just go and be like, oh, I want to study with you. I build a relationship with them. Then with time, we come together and then form um a group,
Group study.
a group study. And I think most people, like, the problem now is it's not about people finding the right approach and all of that. I think people are just not willing to pay the price that comes with like their success. So yeah, I just want to encourage that. I just want to encourage each and everyone listening and be willing to pay the price. Like, there's really a price for success. That girl or boy you're admiring didn't just get up and then become the valedictorian or the best students you would want to become. They paid the price. So be willing to pay the price, kill the distractions, kill the excuses, stop the distractions. Work hard, put in the efforts because it really pays off. Yes.
Great, great. Yeah, so there's another question. You mentioned that, for example, you always try to have a me time, if that is the right word. The person tried to quote it. You have a personal time for yourself. So the person want to find out, what do you do during that time that you have for yourself?
Okay. So the me time I was referring to was when I said the time that I am very productive. So that is the time where I revisit the notes I made in class, the explanations I got from my course mates or my group study mates, and then I
Yeah.
try to commit things to memory. That's also the time where I do my personal devotion,
Okay.
and yeah, and then probably plan for the next day. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think we have another person asking a similar question that you already answered about. So, as an undergraduate student in Legon, how does one find opportunities for volunteerism?
I think mostly during the before, I think every department before an event is organized, um they are open to receive volunteers for that particular event. Sometimes they are willing to get people on board for ushering, for organizing, and a whole lot, even for churches on campus. They do that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you see advertisements for upcoming programs. You just want to reach out to the main organizer and then ask for an opportunity to volunteer.
Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people don't know of this. Even your UG mail, there's always email from career and counseling, I think office or something, about volunteering opportunities all the time. Sometimes you even get email from World Bank. I mean, you have project and all those things. So keep checking your email. Every department has a departmental program they do every semester or every academic year, and they need people to play a role on committees, on volunteerism, kind of people who even usher the program, people who even come and send sponsorship letters to people in around to get sponsorship. So they are always around. Just be on the lookout for them. And sometimes get closer to your department, talk to your department head, probably the student leader, the association leader, to tell the person that, what are the upcoming programs? I want to volunteer for some of them. And I believe they will share a lot with you as well. Yeah. So coming back to our concluding issues, what about the challenges you had along the line? Very important, and how you were able to overcome them.
So I think one of the challenges I had was appreciating some of the things the lecturers taught in class. So mostly, I think when it's exam time, you hear people saying that you are taught how to cook rice, and then you go to the exam hall and then you're asked to prepare fried rice. So it mostly comes like in the beginning it was coming up as a surprise, but then I realized that everything I think the lecturer does about let's say 30% of the work. So you would have to go back to your room or your group study and then find out like what questions can be asked out of what the lecturer is saying. So my major challenge was appreciating some of the complex things the lecturers taught. I think for some of the lecturers, they speak in a language that you probably do not understand or you probably wouldn't appreciate. So then that was like one of the major challenges. And I overcame this challenge by speaking to friends who have a better understanding on that particular subject or that particular issue, then conducting a lot of research, watching a lot of videos. There are lots of materials online that are very helpful if you really look out for them. Yes, so I mostly found a lot of videos on YouTube where I could easily type the topic that the lecturer was teaching and then get a better understanding that particular topic. Also, sometimes I have friends that can break things down to your level. If I would see, yes, that was like one of the major challenges I faced.
Okay.
Yes, and also time management because I was doing a lot of things. I was everywhere. So it became a little challenging at a point. But I just had to set my priorities right, know what really mattered at a particular time, and get the balance right. Yes, I also had to stay disciplined and then consistent because I knew that I wouldn't have the success I'm desiring if I do something I want to excel at occasionally, but then I would have to be consistent at doing it. So the major challenge for me was mostly time management and then appreciating some of the things the lecturers were teaching. Yes.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much for this opportunity. The last thing I would like you to do for us is kind of advise our viewers in terms of all that we spoke about. Any advice you want to give to them in terms of learning, in terms of how to go through the academic journey. I like the fact that you spoke about some of the relevant principles that were guiding you, the issue about vision, the issue about uniqueness, knowing yourself, and knowing the environment you are, the issue about discipline, that is very important. Yes, so if you have any advice and recommendations that you can give our viewers and all of us, we are ready to listen to you in the next few minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So an advice I believe would be very helpful would be that sometimes I think when it's almost time for exams, we find ourselves are in churches and all praying that God will just like do a miracle or something, especially to the Christians. You just want to have it at the back of your mind that if it's something that you can do for yourself by hard work, God will not do for you by miracle. And also, people try to compare themselves. They're like, oh, this girl, she was born naturally smart, so no matter what I do, I cannot match up shoulders with them. I just want to tell them that if there's anything, even if there's anything like people born smart and or you can equally achieve what those people are achieving by putting in the required hard work and then success. Also, the Bible says that who walks with the wise shall be wise, right? And but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. God, sometimes you feel like, oh, I have so much self-control, but God is not unwise to just say that. He knows why he's saying that. So then you really want to be intentional about the kind of associations you you find yourself in. Yes.
Yeah.
And also you will not excel if you do not discipline yourself to stay consistent. You just have to make the right amount of investments and then sacrifices. That's like very important. Success is not like it's not accidental, it's very intentional. Whoever
Oh,
is succeeding has actually like planned or has put in the work, has paid the price for success. And I think there's this drink called Seven Up. There's this drink
yeah.
called Seven Up. And one time I read a success story behind it, and I realized that the manufacturer actually failed 6 times. And it was on his seventh attempt that the product was like everything was perfect with the product. So now I just want to say that you have to put in, you really, really have to put in the required amount of work and then effort to achieve success. Yes. So then stop your distractions. The distractions are a lot. Know your distractions. Sometimes you don't even know that something is a distraction because you're not willing to accept that this thing is distracting me. So you just want to find out what are my distractions, what is distracting me, is this thing really helping me, and then stop the distractions. For excuses, you would always find an excuse if you would want to find one, but then kill the excuses, stop the distractions, be disciplined, have a right balance of things, go out, be social, and just give it your best. Yes.
Great, thank you. People want to follow you on social media. What's your Facebook handle? Maybe Instagram, LinkedIn, or something. Any social media handle that you like to share for people to follow you. Yeah.
Yeah, and also before that, I would want to encourage everyone to take their work with God very serious because I think even in senior high school and then in the university, sometimes I think at a point in JHS, my friends were saying, hey, this girl, she's a witch. How did she know this thing was going to come? But then it was just the Holy Spirit prompting me to study a particular area. So at a point, I didn't even want to study with anyone because whatever they ended up studying with me will come in and they will think I have like some questions or all. But then it was just the Holy Spirit. So on LinkedIn, Mirabel Etonam Afeke. I don't know if I can type it somewhere for people
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. So I'll drop it in the comment section.
And on Instagram, I'm Bell underscore Miri, Bell BL underscore Miri, MIRIE. So you can
Okay.
just connect with me on Facebook. I'm Mirabel Elton Amafeke. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I believe that it has been a good time, and our viewers will also learn a lot from it. Viewers, don't forget, subscribe, share with students who are currently in school, people who are aspiring to go to university, and people who are in school, and I believe they